Good afternoon or evening, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special episode of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and today Tony Robinson and I are going to be sitting down with a guy who has accomplished more by the age of 19 than many people will accomplish in an entire career, and that is Accrington Stanley goalkeeper Josef Bursik. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Nice to be here, and I'm looking forward to answering some questions.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Joe. We're looking forward to having a nice visit with you today.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Now, like I said in the opener, you've had a pretty illustrious career with the English national team. Now you're only 19 years old now, and you're already starting in League One for Accrington on loan right now from Stoke. But we really wanted to talk about your national team career. You were part of the 2017 England under-17 team that was in the 2017 under-17 World Cup, and you guys won that. And you also were runner-up in the European Championship. So that was a pretty big year there. Tell us a little bit about those tournaments in 2017.
Well, first of all, we had the European Championships, which were in Croatia early on in 2017, which I played every game up until including the final with England, which was unbelievable. Really, that was the first time I've gone to a kind of major tournament because, I'd only recently got into the England setup, really. I'd only been to one proper camp before that tournament. So it was really quick how it all happened. I was at my previous club at that point as well, AFC Wimbledon. So it's quite unheard of that, someone from a League One club like Accrington, but obviously at Wimbledon, would play for England. So it was a really good experience, and we got so close, and it's a shame we couldn't go all the way, but it's it was a great experience, and that led us on really well into the World Cup, where we learned so much from that European Championship run, and I think without that, I'm not sure we would have done what we did in the World Cup. So it's almost like a blessing in disguise. Obviously, at the time it happened, it was one of the worst things that could have happened coming second, but I think in the long run it really helped us. And the World Cup, wow, what an experience that was in India, somewhere I'd never been before. I don't think many of us had been there. Different culture, different surroundings, different training facilities. It was unbelievable. The fan base as well. We're getting like 70,000 fans at every game.
Wow, that got to get you prepared for some of those big stadiums that you played in League One, like when you go to Stadium or Ipswich. That's
definitely
big crowds there.
So it was unbelievable. It was a great experience.
Like you said, in the European Championships, that one, you did finish runner-up to Spain, but that went all the way down to a penalty shootout. And now with Accrington, I remember earlier this year, you actually not only were in goal, but you scored in a penalty shootout. Is that something that you've done all throughout your career, or was that the first time you take a penalty when you did that for Accrington?
No, it was the first time I'd taken one, actually. It was obviously, if you ask anyone from Mackie, they'll tell you that I like taking penalties, and I wouldn't mess around taking free kicks and that before and after training. So I said to the gaffer a couple of days before I'll be up for taking one. I wasn't sure if it actually put me on it, but I gave him a heads up that I'd be happy taking one. When the game finished a draw and we were going through the list of takers, my name was first. So I was ready. To be honest, I was stepped up and I didn't even know which way I was going to go until as I hit the ball. Really, I just went with whatever side felt right, and the one I went to, luckily, put in the corner. Keeper went the right way, but it had enough pace on it to get in. And it was a good moment. It was enjoyable, that.
So I guess John Coleman didn't want to give you time to dwell on it. He just sort of threw you in there, and then you were away you go. So you didn't have time to reflect on it.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. He knows I take penalties with him actually quite a lot. Me and him always have a little bit of a competition taking them, and me saving some of his as well. I think he knows I got a decent pen. But yeah, it was an enjoyable thing because obviously you don't see it that often with goalkeepers taking them. So I like to be different, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I thought that what happened, you were actually the first shooter, and you came out and made that first shot, and then you ran right into the goal and it saved the next one. And I thought that kind of set the momentum for the whole shootout there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, yeah, I don't know, taking the first one was a bit of pressure as well. Obviously, you set the standard for the team, I think. And obviously, if you miss, I think it puts you on the back foot straight away. So, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. And luckily, I put the penalty away. So, yeah, no complaints on that front.
And you mentioned earlier on, when you were 17 with in the England setup and accomplishing what you did at the age 17. And I was reading that you only really took up the goalkeeper position when you were around about 12 years of age. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is, yeah. Obviously, as I mentioned previously, I was at AFC Wimbledon, and I joined there when they were a Sunday League team. And yeah, I used to fancy myself as a left winger. I used to be quite small. So I was a bit more nippy than I am now, and yeah, I think I was 12 or 11 maybe, yeah, and I got stuck the gloves on and did okay, and I stayed in ever since. I had a few ups and downs, but I managed to get where I am today, and I'm so glad I stuck them gloves on because I wouldn't want it any other way.
I read too that your goalkeeper coach at AFC Wimbledon, you were about 14, and he said that. If you don't change or get better, you're going to be released. So he kind of gave you a bit of a pep talk when you were at that young age.
Yeah, definitely. I think having those things when you're young, obviously, like what I said about the Euros, at the time it seemed like the worst thing, but I think they're always a blessing in disguise because it really gives you that bit of drive and hunger, and it shows you. I think you sit down with yourself and you kind of think to yourself whether you really want it or not, and when I was told that, it made me think and made me realise how much I did want it. And I put in all that extra work. I stayed in after training with him and did all the extras that I needed to do. And luckily, I don't say luckily because I think I worked well for it. But I got a new contract at the end of that season, so it all worked out. But yeah, I'm glad. I always tell coaches to be honest with me. I think that's the best policy. And I think it's the best way for me to improve. So yeah, I'm glad coaches are like that with me.
And about a year later, you were still 15, around 15, I believe, and you were with Wimbledon and traveled with the first team. And you actually got a chance and you warmed up at the Wem Stadium. That would be probably your first experience up to Accrington and at Wem Stadium around when you were 15, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was obviously really fortunate at Wimbledon because the goalie coach there, who was so good with me with the first team, put me in with them and training with them when I was 14. And then, I think it was a natural progression that I started to go and do warm-ups before the games as a third keeper. And I was managed really well there. And I think it's quite funny how I went there to the Wem Stadium. It was a good experience, actually. It was obviously a playoff game, so a lot of pressure. And yeah, it was just a really good experience. And it was obviously at the time Wimbledon got the win, which is good for me, and not so good for Accrington. But we're both in the same league now, so yeah.
How much has the Wem Stadium changed since the first time you visited? When you came back this year, where you're like, wow, this is a whole different place.
yeah, definitely. I think the change room's still quite small in the away one. The home one's decent now, it's okay, but yeah, obviously the change rooms and then the stand on the right side as you come out has changed massively. That used to be just a standing one, so now they got full seated, which is really good. And yeah, no, it's a really nice ground. It's similar to Wimbledon's one, to be honest. It's just like a classic football league ground where you get good atmosphere and you really get the diehard fans there, which really adds to the atmosphere.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I wanted to ask you about here is so when you came over to Accrington, you're on loan from Stoke now, and we noticed that you've recently signed a new contract with Stoke that's going to take you all the way through 2023. So it sounds like going forward, once this season ends, that you're probably planning to go back to Stoke next year and take your career forward there, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, I've committed my future there because I feel like it's the right place for me to do so. I had a few options which were on the table. But I feel like Stoke was the best place for me to progress, with the staff there, the coaches, the manager, who believes in young talent, which I think he's shown quite a lot this season. And yeah, I think it's a statement for me, with the length of the contract, that I'm looking to kind of build my future there and put those building blocks down to progress.
Yeah, Stoke's obviously a big club, and to be rewarded with a contract like that is very, very good. And congratulations on that, getting that contract. And I think, there's a team in the championship that obviously has Premier League aspirations. So it looks like it's a win-win situation for both you and for Stoke.
Yeah, definitely. I just, you just got to hope you get as many games as possible. So I'm still young, which is why I've come out on loan for the past 2 seasons. And I've just got to make sure I'm learning. And then when I go back into Stoke, pre-season, or, with whatever's happening with the current situation, but when I go back in there, I need to prove that I'm ready to fight for my position. There's some really good goalies there at the moment. So it will be tough, but, as always, I always back myself to kind of get where I want to get to, and I'm sure I'll hopefully do that.
You played really well so far at Stanley this year. Evtimov started off the season as the starter, and he got an injury. Then you kind of came in after that and really haven't looked back. You've started 16 games, and the stats that kind of jumped off at me are that you have 4 clean sheets, which means that you've had a clean sheet in 25% of your appearances, which is a great number. The other thing is that right now you have a 63% save percentage. And for me, I look for anything over 60. It's kind of a good number, and you're right there with the 63%. So you're really playing well for it being your first season and your first 16 games at this level.
Oh, no, I didn't even know those stats, to be honest. I knew I had a few clean sheets, but I always go through the games with my dad at the end of the season, and we tot them all up together. But yeah, I hadn't really looked into it, but it's good to hear those sort of stats are in a good place. But yeah, obviously, you know, in the games, I just enjoy them, and I just try to do my job. We've got a really good team, a young team, but a really good quality side who always help me do my job, especially the defence. So yeah, I think that those stats don't just go down to me. I think there's a lot of factors in place that help me get those clean sheets and whatnot. So yeah, it's good to hear. But I give the credit to the rest of the boys to win.
I think one of the things that when you touched on about the team in front of you, you've got an experienced centre back in Mark Hughes. And obviously, as a goalkeeper, you've got to work with your defenders, not only passing the ball, but verbally. How big of a impact or how big of a help is Mark Hughes in your growth?
Oh, Josef's really good to have. He's obviously been about, played hundreds of league games. So it's just little things that I don't think, to the untrained eye, people might not see. But there's little things that I see just from the experience of playing football that I can tell he's got real quality, and just his positioning and things like that really do help me. And he always talks me through games, especially on my first few games that I was in the team. He'd talk me through little bits when he was near me and kind of help me along and just give me a bit of confidence if things didn't go how I wanted them to, which as a young player you can only hope for. So no, I'm really grateful for the things he's passed on to me. And yeah, he's injured at the moment, and we've had a few guys stepping in to cover him. But yeah, Josef's a really good player to have, and a good stable head to have on the pitch.
Now, you in the England setup and with Accrington, are you encouraged to play out from the back like the style of play now is for the goalkeeper almost to be in a sweeper role? Are you is that something you like and you embrace?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's a big part of my game. I like to play on my feet a lot. I think the gaffer at Accrington, John Coleman, likes me to do that as well. He likes me to build up from the back, not always from goal kicks. If it's on, we do it, but if it's not, we'll always go long. But it's something that he, I think, has realised that I have a good level of that, and I can help the team with it. So I think it's an important part of how we play, and I like to obviously implicate it when I can. But first things first, we've got to take no risks and get the ball at the pitch if needs be. But yeah, definitely, I think that it helps me playing for England as well, because that's how they 100% want to play all the time. So you pick up a lot of things when you're with them, and it's always good when I can take it through to my club.
We talked about your clean sheets a little bit earlier, and I personally watch all of the Accrington games on iFollow, so I've been watching your games all season. And one of the games that really stood out to me was the Blackpool game, because in that game, you had a clean sheet, and you saw 5 shots, so you had to make 5 saves. Plus, that was a 1-0 win for you guys, so you really needed that. And to me, that's been your kind of signature game so far this season. Would you agree to that, or is there another game that kind of sticks out to you?
Yeah, I think Blackpool was a good game because we played at a legendary stadium, which has been in the Premier League as well, against a big side Blackpool, and in front of, I think it was like 10,000 odd fans, which was a good experience as well. And yeah, I made some good saves. It was it's always such a special moment when we score a last minute winner. It was quite an even game, if we're being honest. And, Sean popped up with a header in the last minute, which I think made it all the more sweeter. Because I think we would have left the ground with a point at 0-0, being happy with that. So with Sean popping up to make it 1-0, I think that made it all the more sweeter. So yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I'll probably say my favourite game was my debut, for obvious reasons, I think. Just because, it was my league debut. It's a moment I've been waiting for. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just relish in every game as it comes, to be honest. I'm really enjoying it. I love stepping out there with the boys and representing Accrington. So I'm just really enjoying it.
The match you referred to against Portsmouth was, as you said, your league debut. You were fortunate enough to have your dad at the match, and apparently your mom wasn't there, but she was quoted as being a nervous wreck. She worries more about the match than you do.
Yeah. She was actually at the Blackpool game. That was the first game she went to watch. But yeah, she wasn't at the Portsmouth one. She just gets nervous. She's been to quite a few of my England games and some of my Stoke games. But yeah, she just gets nervous. I don't think she likes it. But I don't know. That's part of it. I think a lot of mums are like that. They always worry, don't they? So. Yeah, but I think the Portsmouth game, I made a good save in that game, actually, just remembering that, which I think, helped us onto the win as well. So that probably sticks in my mind. It was good to have my dad there as well. He was obviously a very proud man at that point.
There was a lot of players we've talked to have mentioned that match as one of the big wins, the big best performances for the club this season. Would you agree with that comment?
Yeah, 100%. I think Portsmouth are a top side. They've got some really good players. So for us to come out, the fact we went 1-0 down and to come back and score 4 goals was really good. And I was so glad to be a part of that for my first game as well.
I was going to touch on, we mentioned about the goalkeeping coaches, and we haven't really named anybody particular, but a couple of questions I'd like to sort of zero in on is your experience in the England squad and the level of coaching. Do you who is the main person that you work with in the England setup as far as goalkeeping?
I suppose everyone I've had for every age group. So I started in the under-17s and most recently the under-20s. But I had Eric Steele in the under-19s, who was at Man United with De Gea and Van der Sar and a few other keepers. So he was probably one of the most experienced I've worked with. And, he passes on a lot of stuff and a lot of knowledge, which as a young keeper is very helpful. I'm working now with the under-20s. I've been working with Chris Woods, who's obviously played in the Premier League and had 100-odd caps for England, who's a very good coach as well. So I think there's so many, at club level as well. The ones who have pushed me have been so helpful. So I'm really grateful to have had so many that contributed to my development.
How was it with working with Tony Warner? That he did play in the Premier League with Fulham, and in fact, I believe at some part this season actually had to put on the jersey to sit on the bench at some point. But how's it working with him?
Oh no, Tony's top drawer. I've really enjoyed working with him. He's obviously, as you said, a really experienced keeper as well, who's played at the highest level. So, he's always passing on knowledge, little things that I think only players realise, and little things you can see as a player. And obviously, being at the top level, there's so many little margins that you need to be ahead of, and little things you need to focus on, which he can always pass on to me. So no, Tony's really good. I get along really well with him. So no, I'm really thankful for what he's helped me with this season as well.
I think Accrington has got a good reputation over the past 15 years or so with goalkeepers that have actually suited up for Stanley and gone on to bigger, better things. With Rob Elliott to Newcastle, you got Darren Randolph at West Ham, and Marcus Bettinelli at Fulham. So there's you can see, obviously, if you get a chance with Accrington, you've got the opportunity to improve your career.
Yeah, definitely. I think I had a look at actually some of the keepers that have been there just before I joined, and some of the names have obviously gone on to really good things in the Premier League. So it's something you definitely aspire to, and hopefully I can emulate what they've done. Have a good season or so at Accrington, and then go back to my parent club and show them what I can do. So, it's just building blocks, as I said before, and hopefully I can build on to better things at Stoke.
Peter Latham, who is, of course, the chairman of the official Accrington Stanley Supporters Club, and he's the one who arranges a majority of these interviews. He always likes to send us in a few questions, and we call that Peter's Corner. And Peter actually had sent us in a question about Tony Warner, but he also sent us a few others. So we definitely wanted to, I thought it would be a good time to get to those now. And one of the things that Peter wanted to ask was, who is your goalkeeping hero? Who did you look up to as a kid and try to emulate your game after?
Well, I'm a Chelsea fan, and I've grown up going to Chelsea games. My dad's been fortunate to have enough to have a season ticket there for quite a number of years now. So I've grown up going to those games at Stamford Bridge, and it's always been Petr Cech who's been my idol. He's obviously I'm half Czech as well, so he's from the Czech Republic as well, which is another connection. But no, I've always watched him, and
he's just a legend. I mean, with everything that he's. I believe he's won more games than any keeper ever in the Premier.
Yeah, he's got the most clean sheets as well. So no, he's a top keeper, and I always watch his videos on YouTube and stuff. So I aspire to be like him, hopefully one day.
And he actually went on. I don't know if this is in your bucket list or not, but he also not that long ago actually suited up for a ice hockey team there in England.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, no, it's I think it's quite a big sport in the Czech Republic. So yeah, I'd heard about it a few years ago as well, that he liked it. So, no, he's a top keeper, and he seems like a really nice guy as well. So, yeah, it's probably him that I grew up watching.
So what, would we see you getting on the hockey equipment anytime soon?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I've seen he does a bit of drumming as well, maybe a bit of drumming. I like my.
All right, and then Peter had a couple other questions here. He also wanted to ask me about that you started out as an outfield player.
Yeah, as a left winger.
And he was wanting to know if your experience as an outfield player is kind of what has led to you taking some of those free and penalty kicks that we talked about earlier. Has that experience helped you out there?
Yeah, probably. I imagine so. I don't know. I suppose it kind of correlates to me being comfortable with the ball at my feet. And yeah, as I said before, anyone who knows me knows that I love smashing balls about. So I think that helps as well. But yeah, I imagine so. I think, from a young age, I was always kicking the ball about. So I think that can only help.
All right. And then the last question that Peter had for you, and this has to do with more of your play on the field. And he said that he's noticed that you're a very vocal player in terms of calling out to teammates during the play. And he wanted to know if that's one of your ways of kind of keeping your concentration on what's happening upfield.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'd had kind of problems with talking when I was younger on the pitch, and that I think a lot of coaches always want young players to start talking from a young age and then take it through in their career because it's so important. But yeah, I think it's definitely a way that I use to stay focused. You know, a lot of the boys just say they like hearing me as well, even if it's kind of irrelevant information. I think, you know, it's good to help them stay focused and me. So, you know, I just try to do it throughout the whole game. And yeah, it just keeps me switched on, keeps me on the ball. And I think it also helps the boys in front of me as well. So I think it's just a really important thing that goes throughout the team.
Well, I think that's a position too, Phil, if we can relate it to American football, where you know where you have the quarterback that leads the team and is vocal, and I mean that is so important on set pieces when you're defending that you have to take control of your box and really you're the conductor directing, you know, the players, aren't you? In and around the box.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. I think as a keeper, you're behind the whole team, so you see everything. And obviously, it's easier to talk to your back four because they're closer, which I do most of the time. But when I can, when the boys are nearer to me, I'd always kind of help them on their positioning or whatever. And just little bits, I think it just helps me and everyone stay focused. And, you know, a lot of players will always say they appreciate a keeper that talks. So from other keepers I've spoken to, people like Tony, other goalie coaches that have been around the block will always say that talking is one of the most important things. So I just try to do it where I can. And, you know, I'm quite a vocal person, as you said, yeah.
And how important is it for you to have the same four guys in front of you week in and week out? Obviously, Mark has been injured, so he's going to be out for a while. But before that, you really have Mark and Ross and Callum and then usually Jerome in front of you. I imagine that having the same four guys and kind of having an idea of where they're going to be at, how they communicate, that's a big deal for you week in and week out.
Yeah, definitely. I think you just build up those natural relationships. I think I've got a good one with Ross who can trust me on the ball. And even with Yoza, they just know, without looking, they always know to play to my left foot where possible. And just little details, I think that, you know, obviously to the average person you won't see, but as a goalkeeper, as a player, you really appreciate. And, you know, Callum as well, I've got a good relationship with him on and off the pitch. And I always try to find him when I can with passes and whatnot. I know he's got a good touch. I know he links up well with Jordan down the side. So, yeah, there's just little things. I think it always helps playing with each other on a regular basis because you just learn those little things. But saying that, all the boys that have come in when they've had to have done really well. And, you know, I can't fault any of them. And they just slot right in and it works like clockwork. So, you know, I think we've got such a good team and we've got such good mentality that anyone can come in and out and do a really good job.
Yeah, you really have some depth on the back line, and I think with Mark out that, like you said, Aji is going to come in and really fill that in, and he's actually going to be coming on the show with us here later this week, so we're really looking forward to talking to him. He's on loan for West Ham, so he's a London guy, so maybe you and him can get together and do some training once they say that's all together.
Yeah. Me and actually, he lives next door to me in Preston, where we're living when we're on loan at Accrington. So obviously, me and him spend a lot of time together. We drive in the morning together. So I've got a good relationship with him. He's a really good lad. He's young as well. So, but yeah, it's always good to have another Southerner with you. I think, he's a top lad, a really good player as well.
Yeah, you don't want those lads from Liverpool ganging up on you guys from London.
like they do so much. Don't worry about that.
It's just a good time for those kind of north versus south questions that we asked, Cody.
Well, we've got some. Yeah, we've got a section we call rapid fire. It started out with a couple of questions, but it's kind of grown. But if you want to cue the sound effects, Phil, go ahead.
You have the floor, Tony.
Okay, we're going to start with some easy questions just to see, as I say, northern versus south kind of thing. Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Mushy or garden peas?
Mushy.
Red or brown sauce on your bacon butty?
Red.
Now this one is from Mark Hughes, so this is why you'll understand the question. Red or white wine?
Oh, red.
Okay. If you have a full English, with or without black pudding?
Without, 100%.
Okay. And the soap opera, this is more north-south. Coronation Street, if you're to watch it, Coronation Street or EastEnders?
EastEnders. I don't watch either though.
But I think you take EastEnders, yeah. And this is from Sean McConville. Natural grass or AstroTurf?
Without a doubt, 100% natural grass.
I think that's the most. I think every player is consistent with that answer.
Yeah, we haven't got one AstroTurf yet. I don't think.
No
I think Sean McConville's trying to make a point, so we're trying to help him with. We're trying to help him with his case.
I understand the point he's crossing as well.
Yeah. Okay. And over to you, Phil, for some North American-centric questions.
Okay, well, they're not all North American-centric. This one is actually one of the kind of North versus South ones.
The music, yeah.
Beatles versus Rolling Stones, and I said for the younger generation, we need to ask Oasis or Blur.
Oasis.
Oasis. Okay, we still haven't gotten a Blur yet, except for our one co-host, Aaron. He's the Blur guy, but so far we're 100% Oasis.
They're good band. Yeah, good band. I don't mind them.
And then we have the North American one. So now Tony, he's originally from Accrington, but now he lives in Toronto, Canada. And they have a food dish over there that he thinks would be popular in Lancashire. It's called poutine, and that is chips, gravy, and cheese curds. Is that something?
I've heard of poutine. I think that would be popular all up and down England, let alone Lancashire.
Yeah.
That's good to me.
Yeah, I say it's if your blood is flowing through your veins and you need to slow it down, have a couple of poutines and that will fix you.
I'm not surprised.
Now here in Phoenix, Arizona is where I'm at, and we like hot and spicy foods down here, and we put jalapeno peppers on our pizza. Would you like jalapeno peppers on your pizza?
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't really mind whatever on my pizza. I am an advocate of ham and pineapple, which I know a lot of people aren't, but I'm just gonna put that out there.
That's my favorite pizza. I'm behind you 100% on that, Joe.
Good to hear.
Well, we might need to make that another question. We'll have Joe, your question that we're going to ask on future interviews will be pineapple or no pineapple.
Yeah, good one. I think a lot of people will say without.
I think the pineapple and the jalapenos go pretty good together. You get that sweet and spicy, and that might be something right there. That's an
interesting one. I haven't heard of that before, but might give it a try.
Yeah, there we go. Tony, did I miss any of the questions from the rapid fire? Oh, we've got Darren. So there's a little bit of a backstory behind this one. I'll save you the time on that. But the last one from Darren Woodhead, who is the author of 50 Years of Accrington Stanley, wants us to ask, do you prefer the version of I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston or Dolly Parton?
Not something that I've thought about a lot, I'll be honest, but
I don't blame you.
Probably Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Long story behind that, but those questions are fun. But let's get back to talking about football a little bit, and I think that one of the things that we like to talk about is John Coleman, and the first time that a player had met John Coleman. We found some interesting stories that John Coleman will be on a McDonald's or a gas station or a Starbucks. Where was your first meeting with John Coleman?
Obviously, before I came, I spoke to him on the phone, but I actually turned up at the training ground, and it was a quick handshake, right, Joe? And then that was it. Yeah, the training ground.
Well, he owes you a coffee. Then it sounds like some guys have gotten a coffee out of him the first time, and
no, I wasn't lucky enough to get that.
Well, that leads me into just a question really regards to the loan process, where a player is loaned to a club like you were at Stoke Accrington Stanley. Is that something that the club, your home club, Stoke, would initiate? And would they look for a club that sort of fits your needs? Or how does Stoke tie up with Accrington?
I think it's more down to the club. Stoke thinking it's better for my development. Obviously, I push it as well because I want to get out and play. And then, a lot of it comes down to my agent, really, just putting feelers out to different clubs who he thinks could be a good fit. And then you obviously get a list of potential clubs, and they're in good contact with your parent club. And then I think the agent kind of bridges the gap between your parent club and the loan club. So he finds the connection and then establishes, conversation between the two clubs, and it pushes on from there. So I don't know. I think it's good that you find the right fit, and then you kind of assess all the other bits about it, whether you got to move away and whatnot. So I think, there's a lot of little things that have to happen. But yeah, I think the agent plays a big part in getting it sorted as well.
And for as far as the player itself, the development, that's a big part of some of the lower leagues is to bring in loan players in, and Stanley's no different than a lot of the clubs. As a player, how important is it, and not only in your development, but mentally too, for you moving away at a young age, how does that affect you as you're in your career, mentally and as well as your physical development?
Yeah, I think obviously I moved from Wimbledon to Stoke when I was 16, which was really tough. I really struggled the first year, but I got through it in the end, which was a positive. But I think kind of the way I look at it in my head is you're either in London or at home, or you're just away from home, no matter how far up the country I am. So, which I don't think is a bad way to look at it, to be honest, because you're just, you're doing it for your work and your love of football. And, I'm glad I'm at such a good and welcoming club like Accrington who kind of make me feel at home anyway. So, yeah, I think it's tough moving away from home, but you get used to it in the end. I like living on my own. I like cooking for myself. I like looking after myself. So I don't really mind it, to be honest.
And one other question I just wanted to ask around the other keeper at Accrington that doesn't really get a lot of mention is young Toby Savin. How do you see him coming along and developing as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think Toby's a top fella, really. I think me and him get along really well because we're of similar age. But no, he's a really good keeper, and he's had a bit of England recognition recently. So I think he's earned that because he's done really well in the games he's played. But yeah, I think he's developing well, and he trains obviously with the first team every day. So that can only help him. So I think in the next couple of years, I think he's got a real good shot of being a regular at Accrington.
And do you think do you see yourself as a bit of a mentor towards him?
Yeah, I think in some aspects, I feel like I see a lot of similarities in him as I did in myself. He's a year younger, so I see a lot of things that I was going through a year before now. So yeah, I always give him advice. Obviously, I'm not the most experienced, to be honest, but if there's little things I can help him with, I always will. And I think vice versa, if he can help me with things, I'll always take criticism from him as well. I think it just works both ways, really.
Yeah, excellent.
When we had Jimmy on the show earlier this year, he kind of mentioned to us that the three of you have some pretty heated competitions in practice. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have a good two-touch competition, which we do every day without fail before training and on match days as well, where we like to get a bit competitive. The loser gets flicked on the ear, which is never nice in cold Accrington. So good bit of competition, good bit of fun. But I think that's always good to have a bit of light-hearted competition.
What other questions did you have, Tony, that we hadn't gotten to yet? I think that was just about everything I had here on my list.
Yeah, I've gone through everything that I wanted to cover, and I think and Peter's questions covered a couple of things that I was going to touch on. But I think we've covered a lot, and I'm always fascinated when somebody has a career like you have, regards to your England career. And I think, continued success not only at your club level, but, being in the England setup and getting the exposure, we wish you best, hopefully with the under-21s. And then the next, we hope to see you in the England squad down the road. So continued success. I really
appreciate that. Thank you very much. All the support is really greatly appreciated. And hopefully I can do everyone proud.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. And like I said at the beginning of the show. I mean, you're only 19. You've accomplished more in your career than some guys do in a whole career with the England youth teams. And like I said, hopefully we get to see you finish out the season with Stanley, and then we look forward to following you with Stoke and wherever your career takes you after that. And we'll be following your career and rooting you on wherever it is.
Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, it's been great. I finally can say I've talked to a World Cup winner, so I'm I'm very thrilled with that. And as I say, continued success, Joe.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Have a great day, and on Stanley on.
Indeed. Make sure you stay safe as well, guys. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Stay safe. You
Bye-bye.
Stay, and you and your family and everybody around you. We just want everybody to be safe and healthy, and hopefully see everybody back cheering on football once it gets started again.
Cheers, Joe.
Of course.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Joe.
guys. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right.